Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Winnipeg Business Podcast, where I bring in Winnipeg's finest businesses to share who they are, what they do, what makes them unique, and what you should look for when dealing with somebody within their industry. So without further ado, let's go. Hey everyone, with me today is Sarah Wallace of Multi-Material Stewardship Manitoba, here to share who they are, what they do, and some important things to note while entering this holiday season. So without further ado, Sarah Wallace.
Hi, thank you for having me. Yeah, so I work for Multi-Material Stewardship Manitoba, and we actually fund the residential recycling programs for the entire province of Manitoba.
All right, so I did have a question. If you can just clarify the difference between like GFL and Recycle Everywhere and MMSM.
Sure. Yeah. So MMSM is a producer responsibility organization. So we're responsible for a set list of materials. And for us, those are packaging and printed paper, anything that is in the blue box or your residential recycling program. Recycle Everywhere is responsible for beverage containers and public space recycling. So that's the main difference between our organizations. We work really closely together, obviously, because beverage containers are at home as well. But we're responsible for funding the residential recycling programs. And then we work with all the municipalities in the province, the city of Winnipeg obviously being one, and we fund up to 80% of their recycling program. Yeah, and then the city of Winnipeg contracts GFL to process the materials. So there's a lot of different players, but we all work really closely together.
Thank you so much for that clarification. That actually makes a lot of sense. So if it's inside your house, MMSM, and then if it's out on the streets, those little bins, that's Recycle Everywhere.
Yeah, and if you go up to your garage and check your big blue recycling cart, you'll see our logo on one side of the cart and the city of Winnipeg's on the other. So
That's where I saw your logo. I'm the one who brings it down to the end of the driveway.
Oh, awesome. So you're in charge of the recycling in your house.
All right. So the most important thing that I really wanted to bring you on for, was that a lot of parties and a lot of family gathering. Well, I guess not so
really this
family
year.
gatherings, but a lot of parties will be happening, and gifts and gift wrapping, food, catering, all of that's a lot of that happens this time of year during the holidays. So I was wondering if you could shine some light on the items that are recyclable, what's not recyclable. Should we be washing them? Like pizza boxes? Like what I heard that pizza boxes are recyclable, then not recyclable. Please shine some light on that for the viewers and listeners.
Sure. Yeah. No, we actually created a holiday recycling guide this year. We haven't done that in the past, but we found that there was a need because there was so much confusion about what materials can go in the blue bin this time of year and what materials can't. So some of those items that you can recycle in your blue bin would be like a chocolate box, but it's important that you remove the plastic liner out of the cardboard before you put it in your blue bin. Brown craft paper, instead of wrapping paper, the brown craft paper is recyclable here in Winnipeg and across the province actually. But wrapping paper with any type of glitter or foil or dye just is not accepted. You may have an abundance of cardboard this year. I know with everything that's going on, I think a lot of us are ordering a lot more packages online. So cardboard can be put in your blue box, but I think a lot of people might have too much of it this year. So you can always cut it down. And there's the 4R depots. There's several recycling depots in Winnipeg, but the 4R depots are fantastic. There's 3 of them. And you can take your household, blue box materials there, but you can also take other materials that are recyclable, but not in the blue box. So, your electronics, batteries, those are, items that you may have more of this holiday season.
Nice. So you're saying if all our recyclables do not fit in our bin, we're welcome to drop it off at these locations. Yeah,
for free.
I actually learned that just last year, and I said I didn't know this. So it's good that you actually shared that. I forgot to mention. So you were saying chocolate boxes, just make sure you take out the plastic and that
Yeah.
little foil lining that makes the pot of gold very delicious.
Yeah, and black plastics also aren't accepted. And it's mostly because there just isn't an end market for them. So if your chocolate box has a black lining plastic liner, sorry, I didn't say that right, but the black plastic liner can't be recycled. So you'll have to toss that in the garbage or find a reuse option for it. But if it's a clear plastic, for the chocolates, it can go in your recycling bin. Metal cookie tins, that's another one that can go in your recycling bin this year. Paper gift bags, you can recycle those as well, but you have to remove the strings at the top.
Oh,
So that's important. An item that we see a lot at the recycling plant that causes a lot of issues are things that are tanglers. So plastic bags, clothing, strings like this, and this can actually damage the equipment. So it's really important that you don't put these items in your recycling bin.
all right. So we'll make sure to put those with the post, and in the event they don't actually see the video, we'll make sure the pictures are there for them to see. Remove the strings as mentioned. Make sure you take out the plastic and anything. So plastic bags. One thing I did notice, so I will be posting this PDF for everybody to down, and you could see my notes already that I was planning to ask her. So wine corks, those actually
Mhm.
aren't recyclable. Those I see a lot of in the recycling bin. Can you explain why those aren't recyclable?
Yeah, there's, the cork is just not a material that, that we currently source a market for. I'm not sure if there's any actually recycling programs that do accept corks. However, if they can be taken, I know the Manitoba liquor marts, they do take the corks. Right now, they're not being accepted just because of COVID, but normally you can take your corks back to one of the Manitoba liquor store locations, and you can recycle them there. I've heard through the grapevine that the zoo actually has a program for the corks. I'm not sure what they do with them, but I'm assuming something to do with the animals. But other than that, yeah, they can't go in your blue bin. You could find fun craft activities. With any material you have in your home, especially this time of year when we're all, kids are home more often, we're looking for different things to do. Come up with some fun, creative ways to use those materials rather than just throwing them in the garbage.
Yes, that is actually really. I actually do crafts with my niece here a lot, so that's
Oh,
perfect. Yeah,
awesome.
that's what we'll use the wine corks for. So one of the other things that I was that actually caught me by surprise was bubble wrap. I see a
Yeah.
lot of that in recycling bins. Can you shine some light on to why that isn't recyclable?
Yeah, so bubble wrap would fall under the plastic film category, and film is an issue, in our recycling programs. Number one, again, it gets tangled in the machinery at the sorting facilities, and number two, we just don't have a market for it. So yes. It is recyclable, but you have to gather enough of it. You have to collect it safely without damaging the equipment, and then you have to be able to find an end buyer, and there just isn't a lot of end buyers for this plastic film. And that's the challenge that we run into with some materials is if there's no end buyer, we can't collect it.
Mhm.
So I hope that that's a good takeaway for people is that we would love to accept everything, but if there's nobody to sell it to, we can't collect it.
Yes. Oh, thank you. So that's okay. That makes a lot of sense. So, question a lot of people. That seems to be a big debate when it comes to like, I'm actually one of the people who help coordinate large Christmas parties every year, and it's always pizza boxes that become a big debate. Can you shine some light on the pizza boxes?
Sure. Yeah. Pizza boxes are recyclable. Um, but there is sort of, an exception to that rule. So if there is lots of grease and lots of cheese on the bottom part of the cardboard, then I would not put that in your recycling bin. The quality is going to be too low, and it'll likely end up, as contamination. But what you could do is you rip the top off, recycle the top of the box, and then you could just throw the contaminated part away. And most often, we eat a lot of pizza in my house. My husband probably has pizza 4 days a week. Um, but yeah, often the boxes aren't that greasy. Like a little bit of grease is okay, but we just don't, those really cheesy boxes, we just don't want to put those in.
Those are actually the pizzas I usually go for. So I love your piece of advice there to rip off the top. That's a really big thing, because sometimes I just feel like it's such a waste to toss that whole box. Okay,
Yeah.
So you're saying rip off the top of really greasy pizza boxes.
Yeah, but if it's not too greasy, then throw the whole thing in.
All right. Ooh, that's so exciting. So I know how to actually recycle that now. So before we end this interview, Sarah, is there anything else you'd like to share with the general public while we approach this holiday season?
Yeah, definitely. So there's two things actually. The first is a little bit of confusion around the Mobius loop. So that's the recycling triangle. Most often people look for that as a guide to what they can recycle. And it's actually not a good indication if it is recyclable or not. It's so important that we check with our municipality, or check our Recyclepedia, which I'll get into right away, to find out if it is an accepted material. The Mobius loop is often there just to tell us what kind of material it is, specifically for plastics, not that it's actually accepted in your blue bin. So you have to check it's more important to check the list than to check the bottom of the container. And then the second thing is we launched a tool in March of 2020, and it's called the Recyclepedia. And it's available on our website at simplyrecycle.ca. And it's also available as a mobile app. So you can find it in the Apple Store or on Google Play. And it has over 700 different materials. It comes in 13 different languages, and it'll tell you exactly what you can recycle in Manitoba. So there is a Winnipeg section, there's also a Brandon section, and then there's a Manitoba General. So if you don't live in either of those cities, you would just put Manitoba General, and it will tell you exactly what's accepted in your community. So I really encourage people to check out the Recyclepedia. It's a really valuable tool, and we're constantly updating it, constantly adding materials, just because we want people to know what they can and can't recycle. That's really important to cleaning up our recycling and making sure that all the material is being sent and created into new materials.
That's huge. I did not know you guys had that. And my follow-up question was going to be, do you guys have it in app format? But you just said you did. That's awesome. I'm going to make sure everybody knows. I'm just going to blast that all over Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere I can. Wow, that's mind-blowing. That's
oh, thank you.
And that just came out this year, March 2020.
Yeah, so we launched the web tool in March, and it was we had a lot of positive feedback from everyone. And then in the summer, in August, so it's actually only been out for probably 4 months. We launched the app versions, and again, people really love it, and we're constantly updating it. We work obviously really closely with all the municipalities in the province. So any updates that are happening, we're making sure that those take place on the Recyclepedia as well.
Awesome. That's so cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. And thank you for actually being a guest on our show today and sharing.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun. I hope that everyone learned something.
Yes, I'm sure they did. And so, Sarah, what is the best way for people to contact you or your company in the event they had any further questions or comments?
Sure. Yeah. You can visit our website, which is simplyrecycle.ca. And if you have any follow-up emails, you can email us at info@simplyrecycle.ca.
So thank you so much for coming, and everyone watching. Till next time, go with the pros. Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Winnipeg Business Podcast. If you know anyone you think would make a perfect guest for the show, please send them to thewinnipegbusinesspodcast.com. Have them fill out the form, and someone from our team will get back to them ASAP. Till next time.